Good morning, my name is Byron Drew from Weather Commerce, and this is this morning's weather brief on Thursday, the 13th of October. Today's audio brief will cover a summary of the West European 5-day average temperatures, the UK, Europe, Scandinavian precipitation, and global weather alerts. We'll start by taking a summarized look at the mean surface temperatures across Europe. Overall, there is good model consistency for temperatures to trend above average to well above average in most parts of Europe from days 11 to 15. Despite some model divergence through the 6 to 10 day period, it is likely that temperatures will trend near to average or perhaps slightly above average across most parts of Europe. And finally, in the 2 to 5 day period, there is once again that distinct east-west split in the mean surface temperatures across Europe, with temperatures in most parts of Eastern Europe trending below average to well below average in Austria, and temperatures in the West, through the UK and Spain in particular, trending significantly above average. And now for a look at the United Kingdom in some closer detail. And through days 11 to 15, it is evident that the majority of the available forecast models, including my own particular forecast indicated in the red line, indicate temperatures are expected to trend above average to well above average across the UK, with mean temperatures about 3 or 4 degrees warmer than a climate average of 10 degrees Celsius. And through days 6 to 10, with the exception of the EC deterministic cool outlier, the majority of the available forecast models, including my own particular forecast indicated by the red line, indicate temperatures to warm up from average or perhaps even slightly below average in the first parts of the period to up to 2 to 3 degrees warmer by the 23rd. And finally, confidence levels are high given good model agreement and consistency with previous days, for temperatures to be trending roughly 2 or 3 degrees above climate averages at first, dropping to average or perhaps even slightly below average by the 18th. It should be noted that the EC deterministic model is considered a cool outlier between the 18th and the 21st, and while we expect temperatures to drop significantly over the next few days, approaching or even dropping below climate average, it is unlikely that temperatures will drop significantly below climate averages for a prolonged period of time. And now, taking a look at the expected European temperatures in some closer detail, and while there is significant divergence between models regarding just how warm it is expected to get across Europe, it is evident that all of the available forecast models indicate temperatures to be above or perhaps even well above climate average through the 11 to 15 day period. The latest Benelux model comparison graph helps to illustrate that point nicely, with some of the GFS ensemble members indicating temperatures up to 2 or 3 degrees above a climate average of 11, and the GFS deterministic model indicating temperatures only 0 or 1 degree above climate average, although my specific forecast temperature indicated in the shade of red indicate temperatures roughly 2 or 3 degrees above climate average through the 11 to 15 day period. Through days 6 to 10, despite some significant model divergence in places like Spain and Austria, the majority of the available forecast models indicate temperatures remaining very near to average or perhaps just slightly above average. And once again, the latest Benelux model comparison graph helps to illustrate that point nicely, with the 6 to 10 day period highlighted by the black circle. It is clear that the majority of the available forecast models, including my own particular forecast indicated in the red line, are expecting temperatures to remain just slightly above climate average through the 6 to 10 day period, although some model outliers indicate temperatures to be below climate average and others indicate temperatures to be well above climate average. And finally, through days 2 to 5, there is a distinct east-west split in temperatures across Europe, with temperatures through the UK and Iberia, for example, trending 2 or 3 degrees above climate average, while temperatures in most parts of Eastern Europe will be 2 or 3 degrees below climate average and by as much as 5 or 6 degrees below in Austria. The following synoptic chart from Thursday the 13th helps to illustrate that point nicely, with a high-pressure system situated west of Scandinavia, drawing in cool, if not cold, air from higher latitudes into the eastern portions of Europe. And now moving on to the expected Scandinavian precipitation. Over the next 7 to 10 days, the majority of Scandinavia can expect average or below average precipitation totals, with southern and eastern Sweden in particular expecting less than 25% of their average rainfall for this time of year. The only major exception is along the coast of Norway, where average or perhaps even above average precipitation is expected. The last week in October will see rainfall totals starting to pick up in the southern portions of Sweden, although mostly dry weather is expected to persist across the rest of that country. Meanwhile, moderate rainfall is expected to persist through the northern portions of Norway, Sweden and Finland. Now taking a look at global weather alerts, which highlight significant deviations from normal. And in the United States, the next 7 to 10 day period will be a particularly dry spell for all but the northeastern portions of the country, with the majority of the west and the southwest expecting almost no measurable rainfall. Temperatures over the next 7 to 10 day period are also likely to be above average, particularly in the west. Temperatures in most parts of southern Africa are likely to be above average over the next 7 to 10 days, with well below average precipitation forecast for all but the south coast of South Africa. Above average precipitation totals are also likely along the coast of Kenya and for the southeastern portions of Ethiopia. And once again in China, temperatures look set to remain above average to well above average in the north, with temperatures dropping just slightly below freezing in the extreme northeastern border with Russia. Precipitation totals will be above average to well above average in parts of the northeast and southeast over the next 7 to 10 day period, while in the slightly longer term, rainfall totals look set to increase over most central and southern portions of the country. And in Australia, most places will see temperatures above climate average over the next 7 to 10 days, the exception being in southeastern Queensland and New South Wales, where, like New Zealand, temperatures are expected to trend slightly below climate averages. Rainfall totals are highest over the eastern and northeastern portions of Australia over the next 7 to 10 day period, while in New Zealand precipitation totals will be average or perhaps even slightly below average. Thank you for listening to today's weather brief. Goodbye.